people were born or accidentally got disabled, not just in Sierra Leone, but all around the world. On the streets of Sierra Leone, we see a lot of these vulnerable people, but the most vulnerable are the kids of the disabled and kids who are disabled by any chance. They face the most challenging circumstances.
This documentary is about regular kids of disabled people and disabled kids who suffer from child labor being derived physically, mentally, emotionally, and missing important facilities they have the right to. We interview a couple of officials from organizations concerned with these issues, and some vulnerable disabled kids also on the issues of child labor. Even though we looked out for all kids disabled or not, but our main focus were disabled kids or kids of disabled.
Ms. Hawa Sombi, the PRO of Concern for the Development of Women and Children organizations, had a couple of things to say as well as on the issue. This interview got us to understand the root cause of children with disabilities involved in child labor.
Mina Hawa Sombi. I work for Concern for the Development for Disabled Women and Children. I mean, the PRO, and also Mina a seamstress, and also Mina a physical challenge. Yes. And being a disabled person, when you're born, you begin because of your poverty, and when you look into society, disabled women are the most, I can always use the word most, vulnerable. Why are they use the word most in terms of disability? Now, because even the women that were able are vulnerable. They are vulnerable, but disabled women are the most vulnerable and poorest people in our society. So, and we picking them when we born, can become more vulnerable. We can use we picking them, and other people they can use we picking them in other way. Like first, like child trafficking, and child abuse. It's so plenty in the disability world because of we not get.
We visited the Cheshire home and interviewed the chairman, Mr. Dumbuya. From insights, we gradually got to understand why most of these kids are still on the streets.
My name is Dr. Abdullahi Dumbuya, ABS for short. I'm the chairman of the Freetown Cheshire Home. I'm going to give a professional perspective on this. I mean, Cheshire Home itself, we don't have any child who has been rescued because of child labor. But looking at it more widely, I've got about 15 years experience in disability and assistive technology and all that. And so a general perspective I want to give on a personal level has to do with the fact that I think most times we have children who are have some form of disabilities, and most times these children are abandoned. And if they're not abandoned, they're used as street beggars so that they provide a form of income for their caregivers, be it the parents or otherwise. And so that's one thing which, from a professional point of view, I think is something that should and must be a very abhorrent thing to do. To use the child to provide resources for you. I mean, even from the perspective of non-disabled children, you have situations where people normally go and take a child from the provinces and then bring them to Freetown or any of the district town centers, and they ask that child to be selling water and doing trading and that sort of thing. Again, it's a very terrible thing in terms of child labor. Looking at it from a disability point of view, I think it's even worse from the point that these children, one, most times from a caregiving point of view, want to, as I said, want to give them care of quality life. So if you use that child to sell or to beg on the street to provide income for the caregiver, I think you're damaging that child because you're not giving them a future. When we take some of the children at the Cheshire Home, the whole purpose is to ensure that that child is empowered through education, through health, and this is why we provide the rehabilitation services, and then for that child to become somebody, because already that child has been disadvantaged by virtue of their disability.
Child labor all around the world has affected so many lives of children, as they are deprived of the good necessities of life and have to face the harsh realities of the streets. However, there are organizations that save these kids, and we want to encourage them to continue the good work and discourage anyone who participates in forcing children into child labor, and hopefully the world will be a better place.